Oh, well, hello there. So you have quite a lot to carry, like you mentioned. I heard you were quite the thing about AI and how you implemented it within your team here.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that? How have you led the way?
Yeah, so I do want to talk about that, but before I start in, I do just want to acknowledge all the people in the San Diego community coming to this event. So this is like a huge investment in yourself. And I was talking about it with our comms team. It's a bit of kind of corporate philanthropy for us at Qualcomm as well. And so all of you being here and us having the opportunity to host you is fantastic. And also AI is one of our favorite topics, so it makes it even better. And so I'm very happy to talk about that, but also just want to thank everyone for being here, and it's great to see so many friendly faces in the audience too, so it's fantastic.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So AI is an amazing topic, and Don touched on it a bit in his opening about how important it is for Qualcomm. And I felt it was good for us to talk about the context of Qualcomm and AI and talk about it in 3 dimensions. One is the what is it today, what is it going to be tomorrow, and what is it that you can't even see that's happening around you. And I think this is important in the context of both the technology in and of itself, but then also what it ends up meaning for marketers as a long game. So at Qualcomm, we have this amazing opportunity to talk about our technology that's fueling AI, and it's in things that you experience today but don't even realize. And the fact that it's hidden in there is something that we have to pull forward with our brand and with our messaging as being both the Snapdragon-led and Qualcomm of those 2 brands. So we have a consumer-facing brand and we have a commercial brand. And in that aspect of the work itself, you know, we're in things like the Meta glasses. We're in it from a way that we actually enable the technology of AI happening in these glasses. And some of you may or may not know, but they're glasses that are like XR glasses, but you wear them as sunglasses on your face. And so the immersion of the experience is really happening, and you don't even realize that all that processing power is happening in a set of glasses like you're wearing right here in the front row. Something that for so many people is just even invisible on your face. And so the need to distribute the power that's happening processing both the camera. You can have it now where you're listening to sound and still experiencing the whole world around you while you have your own personal audio experience is pretty transformative. And it's the power of AI and technology that's enabling you to feel that today.
Right.
And so also, like, we think we're all fantastic photographers, but we're really not. Like, what's happening is the AI on your phone is making you feel like you're a fantastic photographer. So those are things in the today, right? And then tomorrow, Dawn alluded to this, is taking it from those mobile experiences and helping to transform a category in the PC space. So we have all the major OEMs launching with our Snapdragon X Elite platform, but also an amazing partnership with Microsoft, and that is Copilot Plus. So we will be the only technology through all of our partnerships with HP, who's in the room, Dell, Lenovo, Samsung, in their products, where you can experience that Copilot Plus experience that Microsoft is bringing forward, and really the transformative power of AI into what is going to be your daily consumer life as well as your work life. And Copilot Plus and the things we talk about with Microsoft is really important, but all the rest of the app ecosystem coming together is also super important. So for marketers, that's, for us, it's things that I'm going to talk about in this presentation that get enabled by that. But for the rest of consumers, that's all something that we have to work really hard to communicate those value props and use cases to. And then there's the part you don't see of AI. And that's the part that is probably, except for Shelley and a few other people in this room, even knowing that it's happening. And that is, in order to develop these experiences, you actually have to create and train all of these models. And at Qualcomm, we have this amazing tool called the AI Hub that we just launched, where developers of any size and scale can actually come and train their models. And it's really an open environment today where the optimization of all these models we keep talking about comes to life. And that is what is kind of the unseen of AI that Qualcomm is helping to enable. And you can tell from the examples that I'm giving, like, this company is a huge, steep route in AI, both what we're experiencing today, what's yet to come, and then what's unseen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also sounds like a lot of marketing work and go-to-market work to make it all happen. So if we take AI, how do you spearhead it internally? How do you use the tool to make the marketing team better, go faster, and be more productive?
Yeah, so as marketers, we all love a good story. So I'll tell this one in the frame of a story for you. So, they got discussed that about a year plus ago, people started realizing, hey, I can use this in my daily life. It's not just something in the past, but it's something that I can change in productivity. And as an AI company, we sat there and said, hey, we want to do this too, but where do we start? What do we do? And of course, Adobe is someone, can anyone raise their hand? Has Adobe been talking to you from a marketing perspective about how you can utilize their technology? Yes. So they're all over the place about that. And they're a very big powerhouse in the space. And we're a big Adobe shop, so I could talk about that a little bit more. But we all sat around and like the teams are just coming at us from a tool perspective. I want to use this. I want to use that. How can I start using this? And actually, Qualcomm understands the risks of AI. And with the risks, I mean by that is, Don explained, we have both our technology portfolio we sell, but also the one that we license. And so it was extremely important to us that we protect our intellectual property. And intellectual property is a huge element of who we are as a company. And we needed to be very careful about code getting out there, any intellectual property information. How do we keep that all protected? And so as an organization, initially we kind of all like came to a pause and took a moment to really reflect and think about how do we do this and how do we do it well. And so that made the creation of what is an AI council that is comprised of very smart, strong, and powerful people at our company, all wanting to help enable this capability to happen, but wanted to do it in a way that protected the intellectual property and had it happen in a really efficient way. And we wanted to put AI and the capability of it into the hands of all of our employees. So we knew we wanted to do that. We just had to figure out how to do that in that way. And there's a little joke amongst the community that we have the largest law firm in San Diego working at Qualcomm. So it's a very prideful thing for our legal team, actually, and it's probably true. But with that, we have some really actually fantastic lawyers that are very collaborative. And in that process, we came up with the parameters for what we needed an enterprise-grade AI solutions to operate like. And with that, we were actually able to give that information to our core collaboration partners and to test which ones would meet that grade. And the enterprise grade element of it was something that really evolved over a few very quick month timeframe to make that happen. Because from a marketing perspective, we've been using things that would be machine learning and other predictive modeling techniques, but it's the generative part of it. And it's putting something out there that's your intellectual property that then becomes at risk, which is the new thing in this situation that needed to be managed. And so with the parameters of the enterprise grade element, like how do we control and protect our data? How do we keep that just for us? Do they support systems that do that? There are a few teams that we're actually using that met all of those parameters. But so I have many of my team member in the audience that are part of that process that really help vet that through those first ones. And so now I'm very pleased to say we have some good tools that we're using as a team to be able to do that. And it's really because of that council coming together with the focus of how do we do it? We understand AI. We know how to protect intellectual property. What are the parameters that need to be in place to be able to do that, to put this generative AI capability in the hands of our teams? And we've been doing it for almost a year now with some very good success cases.
Nice. AI is constantly evolving, especially generative AI. What is in today might not be tomorrow, and you might wake up tomorrow morning with something completely new. Any lesson you've learned along the way implementing that?
Yeah, so I'll use an example of when we started to do the implementation of it, because there's the idea of something, but then is it actually real and is it really working? And actually the team came up with the idea to do like a pilot of the technology. And Jeremy's here and Brent is here. And they were the ones that really spearheaded this element, and Brett led the activity around it where we did a pilot. And so we wanted to see, what's the hype? Does it actually help people? Does it not help people? Is it valuable? Is it not? Because someone mentioned before, the worst thing is technology bought that nobody utilizes and is of no value. And so actually in this pilot phase, there was a set of people, we even had our legal team was part of it. They got to use it as well. And we had this pilot that ran, and during that pilot timeframe, they said as they were able to learn and become better at using it, and I'll share with you, it's Writer. So Writer's here somewhere, I believe, right here in the front, which is fantastic. So they're actually our favorite partner in this space for marketing is Writer, no question. And through that, 100% of the people that were part of the pilot test wanted to continue using the technology. They shared that it saved them 70% on their tasks. And I think it's very fitting for brand innovators and everyone here and the team who helped put this together, Tony and Rebecca from our comms team, that it was, our comms team said it saved them 70% on tasks to write summaries. I have to take this and summarize it. Can you help me do that? All while keeping it protected. I need to boil down this article into a tweet. What would I do? Give me 3 different ways about doing that. And in those processes, these are tasks that are done every single day, but would take someone an hour or 2 hours to do. So this really starts to bring to life how this technology can really help the people every single day in their task. Mm-hmm. And through that, we actually have our legal team, our IT team, our marketing team, all these cross-functional teams utilizing this technology today. And I mean, hats off to us, but as the marketing team is actually leading it and pressing forward that we wanted this capability and how it operationalizes and enhances our workflow through generative AI. And so because of that, we get to be a leader in the organization as well. Mm-hmm. We're showing and enabling capabilities across the organization that now other people have access to and are using it.
That is pretty cool. Is it something that you do with every single new vendor or technology?
Well, running through the AI Council really applies to the generative AI activity and work. So no, we don't run this rigorous of a process for other things. This pilot process in the team really was something we were doing with AI. We don't necessarily do that with other stuff. We're very much we have a very appropriately conservative lens around things. We also like to take risks and push barriers and do things in a very quick and fast way. So we did even a quick little response to that crushing creativity ad that came out a couple of weeks ago. So we pulled together some old assets and put something together in less than a day. So I'm sure you all know what ad I'm talking about. We want to help showcase that AI enables the enhanced creativity of who we all can be and become. And we are very cautious about having AI in any sort of representation hinder that. And both as marketers, we care about that, but then also as a company who has a street-rooted belief in AI and the power of what it can provide in the appropriate way.
Absolutely. Favorite tools. So you mentioned Writer, you cannot mention that one anymore. Any other tools that you and your team use that really enable productivity and efficiency?
So I think there's a couple that I'll mention that are on the forefront of becoming something more. Mm-hmm. So from a marketing perspective community, I'm sure everyone's all hot on Firefly. And we have been using one of the very first teams to start to use that in our Adobe partnership. And we believe that there's a lot of opportunity in that, but it has a lot of farther to go. Mm-hmm. So like some of the elements about Writer specifically is the really tight ability to train it on, say, I think it's 1,200 brand terms, checking my stats, that we have trained on it today. And that helps us really stick really tightly to our brand, which is extremely important for us, the voice and tone of that. Being able to do video summaries or potentially even write a script for somebody in their own tone and voice, and training that is really important. And through that, we have over 16 million word queries that have even been done in that tool. Firefly is at the beginning of that. Words versus visualization are 2 very different things. Mm-hmm. And the other element is that as we go through these, everyone has to have a special training. I should have mentioned that before. You all have to go through legal training, and they're very strict about it. You cannot get access or log into the tool without any legal training, and they're very clear about what needs to be done in order for us to own the outcome of any generative AI activity. So those things are really important. So the other one that I would mention that's coming up is the Next Gen Studio, which is the idea with Adobe of taking the whole workflow and optimizing that through, and some bigger promises of that. But that one as well is still a lot in development, and so we're keeping an eye on that. The other I would say that's coming just more holistically, of course, is Copilot. So the Copilot piece is a really important thing that's coming both in your PC environment as well as to your phone environment. And that is a really important one to keep an eye on, because that's really going to transform workflow holistically across the ecosystem. And even our sales team is testing sales for Copilot. Also in Salesforce, we use Einstein. So if any Salesforce users out here, I see some people nodding their heads. Einstein is also a technology that we have implemented across our sales team.
Nice. Any recommendation, any tips, tricks for marketers and brand out here that are thinking about implementing Gen AI within the organization or trying to use it more?
Yes. So I think the element that people continue to talk about is this idea that people believe it will take their jobs. And if you think about the transition of music over time and how music was created, and the enhancement that technology has provided to create music, we are all still enjoying music created by humans and people, but we're also enjoying it in both the core acoustic ways as well as EDM music and other things that music is generated by the helpfulness of technology, and creativity is alive and well in the music space. So in that same way, I think it's important that we articulate to our teams what generative AI and AI has the power to put in their hands. It has the power to level up your tasks. It has the power to help you be a different kind of marketer and worker, and productivity, the power to actually, you'll see this in some of our work coming out, the power to actually achieve more versus executing and doing more, but you can actually level up your achievement in your work. And that's really what the power of generative AI and AI holistically in marketers' hands to be able to do for us. So the frontier is in front of us. If we're not on it and not using it, we will be left behind. And so learning how to most optimally do that, write a prompt, figure out how it helps you in your life, and enhance that, because we do need to play in that space and find our own personal identity in there and how we're going to use it for our work.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have any more questions. Do you guys have questions? Oh, anything you want to say?
Any questions from the audience? Yes? Yes, and I can talk about this very openly in that I'm close colleagues just in a women's leadership council with some of the lawyers that had to very quickly learn about this space, because there's a lot of newness in it for them. Even though we have a lot of engineers, right, that know AI and its technology, our legal team had to kind of come up to speed on generative AI and how they could put that in. And they actually had legal consortiums of teams working together to discuss it amongst themselves. What kind of things could they do to help enable protections? Even metadata tagging and all of that is things that the legal community is helping to create to be able to enable the marking of it, to know whether it's authentic or not, and those types of things that they're participating in. And so they had to go learn a lot with their colleagues. They have external teams that they talk to. Both obviously are external consultants from a legal perspective, but also their colleagues in the legal industry itself. And that was kind of that pause we went on that I mentioned, where they went and did a lot of learning in order to really make sure we had the right guardrails around it. And they were very authentic about that. Our head legal sent out, very specific requests of do's and don'ts for employees in the company to be really clear about that. And they were very open about explaining why, the risks about it, and what we needed to do to help take care of our company. And one thing I would say about after coming to Qualcomm for the last 2 years, these employees care about these company like nothing else. I've never seen so many t-shirts worn, how good or bad they might be, but they love this company. And so like putting that out there to them, like they all 100% compliant, listened, leaned in, and just paused and waited till they were ready for us.
I wanted to ask how you tackled employee adoption of AI. You're talking about creating content using AI. Did you have to bring in new talent, or were the teams who were already in place, who were used to maybe working with an agency, ready to jump on board? Was that a big step that you had to take there to train them?
Sure. Yeah, so I gave the example of the pilot and those teams that were involved, and in total credit to all of them, they were probably the early adopters that volunteered for the pilot, right? And they wanted to learn and they were interested in doing that. Now we get, and in the space of words, it is this, these are teams that are pumping out a lot of words too. So there's a lot going on in there. They have a lot happening. They were really happy to have a productivity tool to help them. When it gets to the creation of pictures and things like that, it starts to get a bit dicier. And so one of the things that, this is not my first time implementing technology, or Jeremy on my team's implementing technology for the use of marketers. And one of the things that we've learned along the way is bringing people along is super important. So even earlier this week, Jeremy was here leading a next gen studio workshop and had the full creative and brand team come along and talk through that, because there's a lot of mental work that needs to go to get people on this process and feel like they're a part of the creation of what our process would end up looking like in those spaces. And so really inviting people in and bringing them along versus plopping a technology down and saying, hey, here, this is for you. That's the way that we work to help bring that along in that space. There is a mental thing that's still going on that we will have to continue to work through in marketing. But the thing that's pretty awesome about us, as I shared, is that we have the opportunity to really be leading on behalf of the company in productivity tools and enhancements. Marketing is one of the best use cases for this work. So much of the time, evolution happens in other spaces and not ours. And so for us to be able to demonstrate that is significant. I mean, our IT team has developed some internal proprietary tools as well around text and meeting and other things like that. But this is stuff that we can use to bring right into our workflow. And then the second piece along that I would say is the team members that are in there using understand how this makes them competitive. We've all been in cases where we're not sure where the future of our company is going, or what, where we want to work or what we want to do. And so this is a really important part of our practice as marketers to help bring our teams along on this, because this is how we stay competitive in our own job force and workplace, about doing great content and being able to pump it out in that fast way. And we're not quite totally understanding all the elements of it yet, but we'll do it together, and it's a really great place to be able to learn and do that. Like I said, we've had the Sixth Sense is a tool that we've had in the past around, machine learning and optimizing for ABM and commercial marketing and that, which is also a fantastic tool in that space. But it was kind of working in this data place. It wasn't quite as personal. These things now are very personal, and they are our work product. And so the ability to have something help you generate, but then put your flavor on it and be even to elevate up and do better, that's a huge value to all of us that we need to learn mentally to embrace.
Just to follow on to Paula's question, Carmen, I know you're a big data person, metrics and tracking and measurement. How are you, for some of these examples and tools, can you share how you're tracking and measuring some of the results? Is it like more efficiency, more personalization, kind of like the other examples some of the other speakers shared? Is it more of those things? Is it kind of more effectiveness, efficiency?
It's I shared some of the numbers from the pilot before, like the 70% efficiency in a task, the number of minutes or hours it would track down. And the really cool thing about the creative stuff is that we're not talking about 15 minutes to write an email faster and the creative stuff. You're talking about dropping 4 to 5 hours out of retouching something, which is a huge task for our creative teams. I manage the digital team for ecosystem and pushing all that out, optimizing web experiences. The ability of what this can do to really take those kind of tasks out of people's workload so they can focus on the bigger creative tasks and problems that people and humans need to solve is significant, and they're very hungry for that. And so we're talking huge hours of time savings for marketing teams going forward, and we're right at the beginning of it, but it's going to be amazing. When we look back, we're going to be like, how'd we do it a different way? Can you believe all that stuff we used to do? So I think it's going to be pretty powerful for us.
Hi there. I have a question about mobile, because you guys came from the mobile world. I'm kind of seeing you go to the PC world, and and you're in channel sales. So what kind of mobile channels are most important for you right now, and how are you, where do you see that going?
You're talking about mobile advertising channels, or you're talking about something
yeah,
different?
mobile advertising and marketing. Yeah.
Yes. So I think that there's a couple of things, like you mentioned our history in mobile and where we come from, which is very key, but Qualcomm has a very clear diversification strategy, and that's why you hear us talk about also the PC space, our very big strength. We have a huge pipeline in automotive wins and those things, and we also have the Internet of Things that we're very strong in as well. So all of those spaces require us to market to all of those different people. It is a big jumble of marketing activity that we do as a company. And even one of the things that I'm most proud of is even on the web is still very relevant. We just launched a huge new developer experience this year on my team that we've been working a year and a half to be able to launch. I'm presenting on it with my team today to our CEO, which is fantastic. So I think that the element about those mobile spaces, we're in all those places where whatever social channel you're looking for, whether it's Instagram, TikTok and all those from the consumer space is there. But we also have a lot of enterprise ones we're in, and places you might not think of, like Discord, we're in GitHub, we're in all those places where we need to also talk to technical audiences. And so we play all of those different pieces, whether it's mobile or desktop type environments, we have to play across all of those spaces for our audiences. Very diverse audience set.
Wow.
Thank you.
All right. We'll call her up. Thank you so much. Thank you.